Good morning, this is your Stats Sensei, Mr. Spensei, and this is an assignment on bias. It's multiple choice, and we're going to work through all of these. If it ends up being too long, I may break this into two videos. We'll see what happens. So it says, which of the following best describes a simple random sample? First off, let's talk about a simple random sample. Simple random sample, all good samples will involve randomness. The only one that doesn't is a convenient sample, but all good samples involve randomness. So randomness, that's going to be key. But beyond that, a simple random sample. Simple random sample says that everyone has an equal chance of being selected. Once again, that's true of all the samples. Everybody has an equal chance of being selected when we start. But a simple random sample is a special situation where every single group has an equal opportunity being selected. So that's what we're going to be looking for. So it involves selecting groups from a population randomly and then sampling all members of those groups. This, yes, it involved randomness, but we randomly selected a group and then we surveyed all. So this is going to be a cluster. So this is going to be a cluster, not a simple random. Involves dividing the population into strata and randomly selecting from each strata. Well, I think the fact that I mentioned strata, you probably know that this is a stratified. The next one, it ensures every member of the population has an equal chance of being selected. That's true, but I'm not sure that I like that because that's really true of um, that may not be the best one. All right. It does ensure every member of the population has an equal chance, but it'd be better if it said every group has an equal chance. So then it says involve selecting participants who is easy to reach. That's a convenience. We don't like that at all. That's biased. It involves selecting every nth. If you're selecting every nth, that's stratified. So in this case, while I'm not really fond of this because it's not as precise as I'd like to be, this is our best answer. So the best answer is letter C. Which of the following best describes a cluster sample? Well, please remember that in a cluster sample, we randomly select the group, which is what we set up here in letter A, and then we sample all the members of the group. So it involves selecting groups from a population randomly. So we randomly selected the group, and then we sample. Here's the key word, randomly select group, and then select all. Okay, moving on. Which of the following best describes a systematic? In a systematic, we're going to randomly select the first and then every nth one after that. So it involves selecting groups. No. If it's selecting groups, it's either going to be cluster or stratified, so it's not that. It involves dividing the population into strata. Well, we know that that's stratified. It involves assures every member has an equal chance. That's true, but that's not our best answer. So let's keep going. It involves selecting participants who are easy to reach. Hate that one. It's convenience. It's very biased. It involves selecting every nth individual from a list after the first one was randomly selected. So we randomly select the first one and then every nth one. This is our best answer. So our best answer for C is not false, but it's not our best answer. Our best answer is letter E. All right. Which of the following best describes a convenience sample? First off, convenience sample, no randomness. All right, involves selecting groups from a population randomly. Oh, it says first off, we're selecting a group and it says random. No. It involves dividing the population into strata and then randomly. Oh, there's that word randomly. Convenience doesn't do anything random. That's the problem with it. It's biased. Ensures every member of the population has an equal chance. It doesn't. It was convenient. You surveyed your friends at the lunchroom. You surveyed everyone outside the band hall. So you mainly got band members. You served everyone in the athletic building. So you didn't get the nerds. You only got the athletes. All right. Involves selecting people who are easy to reach. Bing, bing, bing. We have a winner there. That's our best answer for number 4. That's a convenient sample. Survey, doing what's easy. All right. I always like to think of this. My statistics homework was due today. I had statistics fifth period, and I was at lunch, so I surveyed my friends during lunch because that was what was convenient. Did I represent the whole campus of Reagan? No, I only surveyed my friends. Those are the ones who were represented. I know that's the only one that mattered, but that's who you surveyed. The next one, which of the following best describes a stratified? All right, stratified sample. We're breaking it into groups based on a uh, characteristics. I always want to think of freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors. So I'd have a group of freshmen, a group of sophomores, a group of juniors, and a group of seniors. You can't be in both groups. You're either a freshman or you're a sophomore. You're a junior, you're not a sophomore and a junior. You're one or the other. And then we randomly select from each group. Those groups that we divided in are known as strata. All right. So real quickly, we're just going to jump to the answer. It involves dividing the population into strata and randomly selecting from each group. All right, from each strata. So first off, we break it into the strata. We break it into freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors. We say this is the group you're going into, and then we randomly select from each group. So 5 is B. Moving on to number 6. Hold on a second. I don't know why this is beeping, but I got a little beeper in here going off. Um, anyway, a researcher divides a population into healthy and unhealthy groups and then randomly selects individuals from each group. So we divide it into group. By the way, if it's broken into groups, I know it's either going to be stratified or clustered. All right. But when I break them into groups, in a cluster, I randomly select the groups. In a stratify, I randomly select from each group. So here's the difference. If I had a population, and let's say my population was just made out of ABCs, and I had this giant population of ABCs, well, a stratified, that's a strata of A's, the strata of B's, and a strata of C's. So all the A's are grouped together, and all the B's are grouped together, and all the C's are grouped together. Then I'd come back by and I'd randomly select. Oh, maybe I randomly selected it here, and I randomly selected this B, and I randomly selected a C. So I went to each group and randomly selected. On a cluster, they're heterogeneous, and a heterogeneous means that they actually look like the entire population. The groups look like a population because our population was A, B, C, A, B, C, C, B, A, B, C, A. It was just full of A's, B's, and C's. So the cluster looks like the population. Oh, it has some of each. A strata only has one part of the part of it. So in this case, we split them into two groups, and we had a healthy group, and we had an unhealthy. And it was healthy, 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 un. And I randomly selected. Oh, I selected one from the healthy group and one from the unhealthy group. But we broke them into strata. We broke them. These were our main groups, and then I randomly selected. So broken into groups, random select is a strata. Okay. All right. That's number 6. Number 7, a researcher selects every 10th person from a list of employees for a survey. The sampling method is called. Hey, so every 10th, that's like saying every nth. All right. If it's every nth, it's systematic. Typically, we randomly select the first, then every nth. So the first person is randomly selected. That's how randomness is used. And then we select every nth. They just told us we did the 10th. That's, guess what? That's a systematic. Real quickly, in a census, we surveyed everybody. All right, number 8. In a study of tree growth, a researcher divides trees into groups based on their species and then randomly selects 20 trees from each group. So we went into groups. random select. Guess what? If we're into groups, so we're into groups. Oh, we have the aspen, we have the birch, and we have the cherry trees. So I randomly selected one aspen tree, one birch tree, and one cherry tree. So in that case, groups, then randomness, that's stratified because I broke it into strata. Cluster, it's going to be like this. To study voter behavior, a researcher divides a population by age groups and randomly selects from each group. Once again, we have groups and randomness. So we broke them into groups like a stratified. So we broke them into groups and we said, let's see, by population by age, young, middle, old. All right. So this group is all young group people. This group is all middle aged. And this group is like me, it's old. So when I look at this, that's my strata. It's all young people, all old people. And then I randomly selected, oh, maybe here, I selected this one and I selected that one. All right. But once again, when we are doing it and we break it into groups where everyone in the group looks alike, we break it into groups where they look alike and we broke it by age, young, middle, and old, then it is a stratified. All right. Next one, a factory member manager selects every 10th product. Okay. Once again, we see the word nth. That means nth. That means systematic. And normally they randomly select the first. And every nth. All right, I'm going to stop this video here and make a second video, split this up in problems 1 through 10, and then problems 11 through 20, so it's not doesn't get too long. All right, appreciate you watching. Look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thank you.